buenas, queridos amigos de En Órbita. Estamos una vez más con una entrevista realizada desde Bogotá, importunando gente en todos los idiomas en los que nos es posible. Y hoy estamos con el actor Peter Facinelli, que vino a presentar la película Gallows Hill, que en español se conoce como Encerrada. Peter, welcome to En Órbita.
Thank you for having me.
Peter, is it your first time in Colombia, apart from besides
filming?
the filming?
Yes, filming was the first time that I was in Colombia. I mean, I had never been to South America other than Chile for a fan event, but I was very excited to come here and be able to work here and film here.
How do you like it here?
I love it here. I feel at home now. Yeah, I've met a lot of great people, and I'm Italian, so the Colombian people are very much like the Italians. They're very passionate and affectionate and hard workers, and they love life and good food.
Are you Catholic?
Yes.
Yes, your parents were Italian,
Yes.
right? Italian, not descended from...
Yeah, they're both from Italy. So I'm first generation American.
This was not your first time filming in Latin America, but it was your first horror movie. How was it like?
Yeah, I'd never done a horror movie before, so I didn't know what to expect, but I found it actually harder than I thought it was going to be, because when you're doing a horror movie, there's a lot of suspense, and I found that it was very emotional for my character to have to sustain the suspense and the fear and the stakes of possibly losing my family. And when you have such high risks for 3/4 of the movie, that's a lot of emotion. So I didn't expect that I have to, emote so much in the movie.
Trabajar con Peter fue para mí no solamente tanto talento y dedicación, y es un trabajador muy, muy duro. Él ama su trabajo y quiere hacerlo todo bien. Es como un perfeccionista y lo hace todo con tanto amor y disciplina, y le admiro mucho.
Just grab your stuff. We're flying out of Bogotá tonight.
How was it working with Natalia Ramos? We asked her the same question.
Yeah.
We'll have it in
Where is she?
In the cut
We're gonna
copy.
talk about you.
So you will have a little gossip box there.
Yeah.
No.
No, I really enjoyed working with Natalia. She's a very good actress, and she helped me a lot because she speaks Spanish fluently, so it was very helpful, because if I didn't understand how to say something, I'd say, Natalia, ¿cómo se dice? And she'd be able to tell me. So we became really good friends, because she plays my daughter in the movie, and it's funny because she actually looks a little like my daughter. My daughter's younger, but in the face, she has like the same cheekbones. So I had a good time with her, and there were a lot of emotional scenes that I had to share with her, so we became really good friends.
Yes, see, Mija, this is my daughter.
Peter, you started attending law school.
Yeah.
How was it?
Well, I was doing pre-law, so I didn't get to go to actual law school, but I was studying to go to law school. Because when you tell your parents that you want to be an actor, for me, it was like telling my parents who came from Italy. I didn't know anybody in the business, and so telling them I wanted to be an actor was like saying I want to go to the moon and be an astronaut. It's like, oh, that's silly. And so for me, I thought, oh, well, when they told me next time, they said, what do you want to be? I said a lawyer, because in the family, everybody, oh, a lawyer in the family. It sounded good. And I thought, and as a lawyer, it's very much like acting, because you have to stand up in front of a jury, and you have to perform. You put on a performance for them, and you have to persuade them. And the stakes are very high, because you have people's lives that are depending on you. So I enjoyed that aspect of it, and that's what I thought I would enjoy the most. But then I went and worked at a law firm, and there was a lot of being in the office. Paperwork, and I said, when do you go to court? And they said, no, you don't want to go to court. You always want to try to settle before you go to court, because if you go to court, then you potentially lose. So most of the time you're in the office trying to not go to court. I said, no, but I want to go to court. That's why I want to be a lawyer. They said, then this is not for you. I thought, okay, well, if I can't do the courtroom drama, then I'm just going to study drama. And so I went and studied drama at college and took theater classes there. And then when I started working, then my parents thought, oh, maybe he can do it.
Giving us an excuse to use the kitchen for the first time.
Hi, Bella.
How was it working in Twilight, being such a nice guy and still being a vampire?
Yeah, he's not a very good vampire because vampires, they're supposed to eat people and like, you know, he's a terrible vampire.
Yeah, it's like Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Yeah, exactly. So, but, you know, I always looked at him as a very strong character because I remember thinking, if you're a vampire, it's like being a lion in the woods and you just feed, you know? But if you're a lion in the woods and you have to have more strength to say, I'm not going to eat any of these people.
I'm a vegetarian.
I'm a vegetarian lion, you know? And it's like, that takes actually more strength because everything that's innately built inside you makes you want to eat the people, you know? And so I always thought of him, as much as people go, oh, he's so nice and so kind, I look at him and I say, he's actually very strong, you know, more strong than the bad vampires because he has to keep himself from, you know, going off to do the things that innately he's built to do.
How do you prepare a character? Let's talk about your creative process. How do you start building the character, the attitudes, the gestures? How do you work?
It's different for every role, you know. When I look at a character, I tend to look at the things that I have in association with him first. And so there are things like in Encerrada, I looked at him and I said, okay, well, he's a father, I'm a father. I know what it's like to be a father. I have a daughter, I know what it's like to have a daughter. Now if I start to imagine, well, what would happen if my daughter's life was in danger? What would happen if my family's life was in danger, you know? So in this movie in particular, it took a lot of imagination. In other roles, it takes more of preparation because you have to prepare to know how to do a certain skill. When I did Twilight, that was actually a lot of work because I usually do like a little, like a journal for my characters. So I understand, like, I kind of create, when you get a script, it's only a small piece of the person's life, you know? So to understand his whole life, I have to imagine where he grew up. Does he have brothers and sisters? And what did he do when he was younger? And so I have to fill in all these little holes so I know how he got to this little particular point in his life, you know?
It's like building a universe,
yeah,
a small universe.
You have to build this universe for the character because you're only telling a small bit of his life. So when I did Twilight, the character's 350 years old. so I had to sit there and go, oh my God, I have to imagine 350 years because what has he been doing for 350 years, you know?
Well, Peter, let's make a cut in the interview because nos vamos con la agenda en órbita, en donde les recomendamos que apaguen la televisión apenas acabe esta entrevista y salgan a la calle, to the street. Con una novedosa propuesta instrumental de música colombiana y del mundo, los ganadores en 2012 del Gran Premio Mono Núñez en la categoría instrumental Ensamble Cruzado darán un concierto. El evento es el próximo 16 de julio a las 7 de la noche en Río Hacha. El sábado 19 de julio se estrenará Danco, una historia de danza que es otro cuento. Un espectáculo que reúne danza y comedia. La cita es en el Teatro Jorge Isaacs de Cali a las 8 de la noche, no se lo pierda. Palos y Cuerdas, trío instrumental andino, estará en concierto este 19 de julio. Música de Latinoamérica y de todo el mundo. La cita es en la Biblioteca Luis Ángel Arango de Bogotá, en la Sala de Audiovisuales a las 5 de la tarde. Let's talk a little about TV. You've been in many series. My first question is, why did they cancel Fastlane? It was such a great show. I don't like cars, and yet I watched all the episodes, in every repetition they made.
I had a good time on that show. I always joke that we blew up too much of LA and they didn't let us come back. Because every time we were blowing things up.
Yeah,
but it was such a fun job to go to work because it's kind of like being a little kid and playing cops and robbers. You know? And I got to drive Ferraris and got to, you know, have rocket launchers and like, drive fast cars and just wear fun clothes and shoot guns and be the good guy, you know? But I think it was a little before its time, you know, so I think if we had another season, we would have built more of an audience. But we had a good audience. It was a hard year because they had a lot of new shows that year. So we were very close to coming back, and then we didn't. But, you know, sometimes one door closes, the other one opens, because if I had been on that show for too long, then people wouldn't have hired me for other things.
What are you going to work on now, after Gallows Hill?
Well, I have a couple of things that I'm looking at. There's a movie that I wrote that I'm trying to...
you have a
production company,
company,
which is nice because, you know, for me, I'm at heart a storyteller. I like to tell stories. So when you're an actor, you're a small part of telling the story. You know, a small part of this big puzzle. And when you're a writer, you get to create that puzzle. You know, and when you're a director, you get to shape the puzzle. You know, when you're a producer, you get to bring the people in to help you to build the puzzle. So I'm very excited to be able to produce and write and direct as well as act, because then you get a full experience of telling the story. But right now I have a movie that I wrote that I'm going to try to do this summer. I go back to doing Nurse Jackie in September.
I know this guy. He told me I was super handsome.
I retract!
Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
I'm going to do 4 episodes on Nurse Jackie, and then I have a new TV series I'm doing for NBC. It's called Odyssey, and it comes out in the States in January, so we start filming that in October, and that's a political thriller. So that one also is very different than anything I've done.
Yeah, well, hopefully it will come here on cable.
Yes, I hope so.
Okay, Peter, it's been great having you here.
Muchas gracias.
No, muchísimas gracias.